Ladies and gentlemen, gratitude awakens inner peace in ways that are far deeper than we often realize. When a person begins their day by giving thanks, they are not simply saying words of appreciation. They are shaping the direction of their heart and mind. Gratitude is not just a polite response when life treats us kindly. It is a conscious decision to recognize that even in ordinary moments, we are surrounded by countless gifts. A grateful heart teaches us to see abundance where others see scarcity, to notice the beauty of what we have rather than dwell on what we lack. And in that shift of perspective, peace begins to grow within us. When we thank God, we are acknowledging that life is bigger than our own efforts and our own struggles. We admit that what we have, our breath, our health, our loved ones, our opportunities, is not owed to us, but rather entrusted to us. That sense of humility becomes a key to inner calm, because the moment we stop fighting with what we do not have and start cherishing what we do, the constant restlessness of the human soul begins to quiet down. Anxiety loses its grip when we turn our attention toward gratitude. Instead of focusing on tomorrow's uncertainty, we find rest in today's blessings. Think of how our mornings often begin. Many people wake up burdened with worry about work, family responsibilities, finances, or the problems they see on the news. The mind instantly races, and stress sets the tone for the entire day. But imagine beginning the same morning differently. Instead of rushing into worry, pausing for a moment, taking a deep breath, and simply saying, "Thank you. Thank you for life. Thank you for health. Thank you for another sunrise, for the strength to face another day." That small act is more than a ritual. It is a realignment of the heart. Suddenly, instead of starting from a place of stress, you begin from a place of peace. Gratitude is also deeply connected to perspective. Consider how two people can experience the same event and yet interpret it entirely differently. One may complain about the rain, while another gives thanks for the nourishment it brings to the earth. One may feel defeated by a challenge, while another may thank God for the chance to grow stronger. What makes the difference? It is not the event itself, but the heart's posture. A heart trained in gratitude does not deny hardship, but finds meaning even within it. This mindset guards the spirit against despair and opens the door to peace, even in difficult times. Inner peace born of gratitude also affects how we treat others. A grateful heart is a generous heart. When we truly see how much we have been given, we naturally become more patient, more forgiving, and more willing to extend kindness. Instead of comparing ourselves to others or resenting what we do not have, we rejoice in the blessings of others and look for ways to share our own. Gratitude transforms relationships, softens conflicts, and reminds us that peace is not only something we hold within, but something we can extend outward to those around us. And perhaps the most remarkable truth is that gratitude can be learned. It is not reserved for those who naturally see the bright side. It is a discipline that can be practiced daily, every morning, every evening. Every small pause in the day offers an opportunity to whisper thanks. Over time, these small choices build a new way of living. The more we practice gratitude, the more peace becomes our natural state. We stop being tossed back and forth by every difficulty because we have anchored ourselves in a deeper awareness of blessing. So, ladies and gentlemen, gratitude is not just about words, it is a lifestyle. And when embraced sincerely, it awakens a peace within us that circumstances cannot shake. It is a peace rooted in trust, in humility, and in the acknowledgement that every day we live is a gift worth cherishing. Ladies and gentlemen, blessings are often hidden in simplicity, and true richness is rarely found in material wealth or outward possessions. Instead, it is discovered in the everyday gifts that we so easily overlook. Think for a moment about the rhythm of an ordinary day. The sunlight that enters your room in the morning, the breath that fills your lungs without your command, the presence of family members who care for you, the ability to walk, to speak, to hear. These are treasures beyond measure. Yet we seldom stop to acknowledge them. The human tendency is to search for greatness in extraordinary places, to believe that happiness and fulfillment are locked away in something grand, distant, or costly. But the wisdom of life teaches us that the deepest joys often rest quietly in simplicity. Consider health, for example. Many of us take it for granted until the moment it is compromised. The strength to rise from bed, to work with our hands, to walk freely without pain, is one of the greatest blessings we can possess. Without health, the richest palace becomes a prison. But with health, even the simplest home feels like paradise. Yet, in the busyness of life, we rarely pause to give thanks for something as fundamental as a beating heart, or eyes that see the beauty of creation, or ears that catch the laughter of children. These everyday miracles are not small, they are priceless, and they remind us that true richness is not measured by what money can buy, but by what life freely gives. Family is another blessing that often hides in plain sight. The voices of loved ones, the support of parents, the embrace of children, the companionship of a spouse or a close friend. These are sources of strength and joy that no currency can purchase. It is said that a wealthy man without love is poorer than the humblest worker surrounded by family. Too often, people chase after success, status, and possessions, believing these things will satisfy their hunger for meaning. Yet when they reach the summit, they discover an emptiness that only relationships can fill. A simple meal shared with loved ones is richer than a feast eaten alone. Family and true friends are blessings that transform ordinary days into extraordinary memories. And then there are opportunities, those quiet gifts of life that come in the form of choices, chances, and open doors. Many do not recognize opportunity when it arrives because it often looks like hard work or comes wrapped in uncertainty. Yet opportunity is a blessing because it allows growth, change, and progress. The chance to learn, to start again, to work toward a dream, to make a difference in someone else's life. These are blessings beyond measure. Every day holds opportunities, though they may seem small, like helping a neighbor, encouraging a colleague, or learning something new. With the right perspective, each of these moments can be seen not as routine, but as divine gifts that enrich our journey. The danger lies in overlooking these blessings because of their simplicity. We live in a culture that teaches us to equate richness with luxury, success with status, and blessing with abundance of material possessions. Yet history, literature, and even our own experiences show us that true wealth does not lie in what we accumulate, but in what we appreciate. The man with little but who counts his blessings is richer than the man with much who remains ungrateful. When we shift our focus from what we want to what we already have, we unlock a deep contentment that no external circumstance can shake. Simplicity teaches us gratitude. The simple pleasure of a warm meal, the smile of a stranger, the quiet of an early morning, or the coolness of rain after a hot day. These are reminders that life is not stingy with its gifts. They may not glitter like gold, but they shine with a beauty that nurtures the soul. A child finds joy in a butterfly, an elder finds peace in a quiet sunset. These simple blessings remind us that richness is not about ownership, but about awareness. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we open our eyes to the blessings hidden in simplicity, we begin to live richer lives. We stop chasing after what society tells us is valuable and start cherishing what God has already placed in our hands. Health, family, and opportunity are not small gifts. They are the foundation of true wealth. To recognize them is to live wisely. To give thanks for them is to live richly. And to use them well is to honor the life we have been given. Ladies and gentlemen, morning prayer sets the tone for the entire day in ways that go far beyond what we can measure with logic or routine. When we rise at the break of dawn, the world around us is still, the air feels fresher, and the mind is at its most open. This sacred space of the morning holds within it an opportunity that many fail to see, the chance to align our hearts, our thoughts, and our spirit before the day demands its noise and chaos. In those quiet moments, when the world has not yet distracted us, prayer becomes not only an act of faith, but also an education for the soul, a way to prepare our minds to handle whatever is to come. There is a profound truth in the way mornings influence human behavior. Scientific studies have shown that the habits we cultivate at the start of the day can determine our levels of stress, productivity, and emotional balance throughout the hours that follow. But prayer adds something even deeper. It anchors us in gratitude, centers us in peace, and lifts our perspective higher than our own worries. The person who begins with prayer carries an invisible strength, a calmness that cannot be explained by circumstance alone. Prayer sets the heart in rhythm with trust and with hope, and that rhythm can carry us steadily even when the storms of life begin to rise. Think for a moment about how many people begin their mornings. Alarms ring, phones are checked, messages flood in, and news headlines instantly fill the mind with negativity and fear. Within minutes of waking, the spirit is already restless. But imagine a different kind of morning, one in which the first act is not to reach for a device, but to bow the heart in prayer, to whisper, "Thank you for this day. Thank you for breath. Guide me, strengthen me, and give me peace." Those words, as simple as they may be, change the very atmosphere of the day. They reframe challenges as opportunities, burdens as lessons, and ordinary tasks as privileges. Morning prayer also acts as a shield. Every day, we step out into a world filled with uncertainty, unexpected problems at work, conflicts in relationships, sudden trials, and disappointments. Without preparation, these moments can feel overwhelming. But prayer, especially in the quiet of the morning, acts like armor for the soul. It does not remove the battles of the day, but it equips us with the mindset and the inner strength to face them without fear. The one who has prayed in the morning does not face the day alone. And that assurance becomes a source of courage. Furthermore, prayer brings clarity. Many of us carry questions that weigh on our hearts. Which path should I take? How should I handle this decision? Where should I place my efforts? In the noise of the world, answers often seem clouded. But in the silence of morning prayer, the mind slows down and the spirit becomes sensitive to direction. Ideas are born, wisdom emerges, and clarity settles in. Great leaders, thinkers, and everyday men and women throughout history have testified that some of their best decisions and deepest insights came during moments of quiet prayer in the early hours of the day. But beyond protection and clarity, morning prayer awakens gratitude. Gratitude is not always natural. Human nature leans toward complaint and discontent. Yet, when we pause at dawn to thank God for life, for family, for health, for opportunities, even for struggles that shape us, we train the heart to see abundance instead of lack. That gratitude, planted in the morning, grows throughout the day, coloring every interaction, every task, every thought. The day becomes less about surviving and more about appreciating. Some may say, but I don't have time. Life today is busy, responsibilities are heavy, and mornings can feel rushed. Yet prayer does not demand hours. It only asks for sincerity. Even a few moments of honest reflection, whispered thanks, or heartfelt petitions can transform the spirit. The issue is not the length of prayer, but the posture of the heart. A rushed morning without prayer often leads to a restless day. But even a short moment of prayerful gratitude can open the door to peace that lasts for hours. Morning prayer also reshapes relationships. A person who starts the day in reflection and thanksgiving is more patient with others, more compassionate in interactions, and more resilient in conflicts. Prayer softens the heart. Instead of entering the day with frustration or selfishness, the spirit that has prayed approaches others with kindness and understanding. In families, this can mean fewer arguments and more harmony. In workplaces, it can mean greater cooperation and less division. Prayer may seem like a personal act, but its effects ripple outward into every conversation and relationship. There is also beauty in the fact that morning prayer connects us with something eternal. Every sunrise reminds us that life is renewed, that yesterday's failures and burdens do not define today. In prayer, we lay down what is behind and ask for strength to walk faithfully into what is ahead. It is a daily reminder that each day is not owed to us, but gifted to us, and to squander it in complaint or worry is to miss its true purpose. Those who begin with prayer live with a deeper awareness that life itself is sacred. Let us also remember that morning prayer builds consistency. Day by day, when we commit ourselves to this habit, our character is shaped. Just as muscles grow through exercise, the soul grows through prayer. Over weeks and months, we notice changes, less anxiety, more patience, stronger hope, and clearer priorities. It is not that life becomes easier, rather, we become stronger. Prayer builds resilience in the same way that daily training builds physical endurance. Without it, the burdens of life feel heavier. With it, even great challenges feel lighter. And so, ladies and gentlemen, To begin the day with prayer is to choose peace over chaos, strength over weakness, clarity over confusion, and gratitude over complaint. It is a discipline that transforms ordinary mornings into sacred moments and ordinary people into vessels of strength. The world will continue to demand our attention. Problems will continue to arise, and challenges will not disappear. But the person who begins each day with prayer will face them with calmness, wisdom, and courage. That is why morning prayer does not merely shape the start of the day. It shapes the whole of life. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of this reflection, let us remember that gratitude, simplicity, and prayer are not just lofty ideas meant for quiet moments. They are living principles that can transform the way we walk through every single day. To thank God is to awaken peace within ourselves. To count the blessings hidden in simplicity is to discover a richness that money cannot buy. And to begin the morning in prayer is to anchor the heart, to clothe the mind with strength, and to walk into the day with confidence and grace. The truth is, none of us are promised tomorrow. Each morning is not a guarantee but a gift. How we choose to receive that gift determines the quality of our lives. If we rise with complaint, the day will weigh heavily. But if we rise with gratitude, with awareness of the blessings around us, and with prayer in our hearts, the day will shine with meaning, even through its difficulties. So I urge you, when you wake tomorrow, pause. Do not let the noise of the world rush in before your heart has found its peace. Whisper thanks for life. Notice the blessings in simplicity and lift your soul in prayer. Carry that spirit through your work, through your relationships, through your challenges, and you will find that you are not walking in weakness, but in strength, not in emptiness, but in abundance. May your mornings be filled with gratitude, your days be guided by prayer, and your lives overflow with blessings. Thank God and count your blessings today, for in doing so, you will find the true meaning of peace, joy, and fulfillment. Thank you.